Hello, I'm Jake and welcome back to my automotive channel. Now I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. You see behind me, this is my 1972 classic Fiat 500. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to set up a chair, sit down and tell you the story how I ended up with my 6th classic Fiat 500. Now, if you're new to my channel, you've probably not seen some of my old videos, but my channel actually started out, I was doing videos on my very first classic Fiat 500, which was a 1970 Al. This one is a 72 Al. So, to think my channel started from doing videos with that Fiat 500 and how far I've come with all the different cars on the channel, I think I'm up to about 38 to 40 cars now, which is absolutely crazy. And coming up to 2,000 subscribers, which was even more amazing because I didn't know that my cars would be so popular. So yeah, I love my classic Fiat 500s. I restored my last one about a year and a half ago, Simply Red, which was a 1967 500F that I found in Bristol. They've been parked in a barn for about 7 years. And me and my partner, Hannah, we drove that back from Wales, got all the way over the Severn Bridge and pulled over in Lidl's for a break. As we drove off, the spark plug went out the engine, took all the threads with it. It was a long night to sort that out. Ended up getting the car recovered. But that's why we love classic cars, and it's always great to have a story with them. And this one comes with his very own story before I even owned the car. Now, as mentioned, he's a 1972 Fiat 500 Al, and he's right-hand drive. And he's a original right-hand drive. He's not been converted from left-hand to right-hand, which a lot of them do get that. And my last 5 have all been left-hand drive. But this one popped up 10 minutes down the road from me in Lydney. And the ad said that it's always been a local car. Now, I contacted the seller. Me and Hannah went over to have a look at it a couple of days after because he was on holiday. And for the price he had, which was very, very reasonable, he had a lot of people message him. But what stood out with me was I was local, and I told him I showed him some pictures of my other 500s before we looked at the car. And he was determined that he wanted to sell me the car because he could see that I had a passion for them. So we popped over there, had a look at the car. It was up on a flatbed, and this is when he told me the story, and I thought it was quite amazing. Now, first of all, it's a local car. There's paperwork to prove it's a local car because it was actually sold at Fiat Westgate Street in Gloucester back in 1972, which is absolutely fantastic because Gloucester is our local main town / city that we go to do all of our big shopping. And I've walked on Westgate Street several hundred times. Didn't even know Fiat used to be down there. So that's more amazing in itself. And I think he's the guy I bought it off is the second owner. The first owner is who bought it from Fiat and Westgate Street. So I'm the third owner on the car, which is even that's amazing to be the third owner on this car, and it's always stayed local, which is fantastic. Now, when he bought the car, he bought it 5 years ago, stuck it in his garage, planned to restore it because he restores other classic cars as well as a business. So this was kind of going to be a side project for himself. But with work and everything, he just never got around to it. So that's why he listed it up for sale. So we talked about the car, and he could tell me that he actually bought it off his neighbours. Now, he had lived there for 10 years, and every day, evening, he used to walk his dog with his kids past this house, past this garden, past this massive log pile that he said kept getting bigger over the years, logs added to it. He said it never seen logs disappearing off the log pile, if that makes sense. And yeah, he'd been walking past this log pile, and he said after we had a big storm, he said about 5 years ago, and he walked past the next day and he noticed a lot of the logs had fell down and the front of the car was showing Now, he knew what it was straight away, so he asked his neighbours, knocked on their door, and like, would you ever consider selling the car? At first, they didn't want to sell it. And then, unfortunately, the husband had passed away, and the wife then come knocking on his door saying, look, if you want to buy it off me. So that's how he ended up with a car. Now, it's quite rusty, and it's missing the roof, which we'll get into that in a second. But he was amazed, as I was when I first looked at the car, that considering it had been sat under a log pile for around 10 to 15, maybe even 20 years, he was told it was part of that for 15 years and could have been a lot longer than that. And he said, like, the logs, the car was buried in logs. How the moisture that builds up in logs and the damp and everything and not rotting the car completely away is amazing. And the reason I'm turning it into a Fiat 500 Jolly is because the roof was absolutely shot. The amount of welding that go into the roof, for me, I looked at it and I was like, this could actually be the perfect donor for a Jolly, because the roof was completely shot, as the back here as well, and just inside the engine bay there, and the front's also quite rotted. But the actual bottom half of the car, sills, floor, the floors are really good. It's solid from the bottom half. So I straight away thought, you know what, this could be the perfect car to turn into a Jolly, which is something I wanted to do with a couple of, well, 2 or 3 of my last 500, because they've had quite a bit of rot, and I think, well, if I'm putting that much time into it, it could be the perfect candidate to turn into a Jolly. And yeah, this will be the Jolly. Now, being a local car is very important to me. As mentioned, the guy who was selling it, he was very committed to selling it to me because he knew I was local and how passionate I was, and I knew my stuff about them. I know everything about these cars. I know where every nut and bolt goes without even looking at a manual now. And that does bring me on to another subject whilst I'm telling this story, because if you've ever restored a classic car, you know if you can't do the work yourself, that's where all the money goes, because you've got to pay people to do the welding, the body work, the paint work, the electrics and everything like that. And unfortunately, due to my health condition, I can't do welding because of my pacemaker. I've got to be very careful with any kind of power tools. I got to be careful cutting myself because I'm on warfarin as well, because I have a mechanical valve. So I'm very limited to what I can do with cars anyway. So in the past, I've always had to pay people to do the work for me, or I've been fortunate that my dad and brother helped me out quite a bit with my cars whenever there's a problem, and they fix it for me, which is fantastic as well. And yeah, this one, I want to try and do as much as I can myself. It's first time I'm ever doing it, but I will be doing the paint work and some of the body work myself. Now, as mentioned, I can't do the welding. My dad is going to be doing the welding with my brother, which is their first time doing it. So that should be quite interesting how that turns out. Now, I am limited to what I can film with that because, again, I can't be in the garage when that's going on. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting project. Now, as mentioned, I'm turning into a Jolly, so that brings on a whole different array of things you got to follow, basically. First of all, you got to strengthen the chassis up because you're cutting the roof off. Now, the car's been strengthened up for now just to keep the car, supported so it doesn't flex or bend, whilst we do the other parts of welding, strengthening the chassis and that, which is very important. Like, you've got to do quite a bit of strengthening around where the doors would be, as well as a bit on the floor and just inside the engine bay up here, as well as the front on these as well. So there's quite a bit of work involved in that. Now I am keeping the original engine. The engine is to my left here, and it's the original engine. that came with the car. The only thing that's not original with the engine is the carb. At some point that carb's been changed, and it's a later carb off of 126, which I noticed as soon as I looked at the car. So it means I got to do quite a bit of work with it. Now, as mentioned, I restored one of these before. My last one I sold a year and a half ago, Simply Red. Absolutely gorgeous car. When I found that car, all the welding was done. So all I had to do was replace all the perished parts, like replace new rear lights, new chrome bumpers. They'd gone way too far. It's better just to replace the parts. I refreshed the interior and everything. I always planned to do the car Simply Red, so it was triple red. So the body was passionate red, a Fiat colour, with full red interior and a red sunroof, triple red, basically. Then I ended up naming the car Simply Red. And it was a lovely car. I'd done most of the putting all the parts on myself, what I could do. The engine never had to really be changed. And that car is actually now, I don't know if it's up right now, but it was up for sale about 2 days ago on Marketplace. It's gone for 2 owners since I had it. And yeah, it'd be nice to have it back, but I don't have the funds at the moment. I am saving for a dream car. You may notice the car's on a frame at the moment. Now, I recently picked up some parts for this car, the bonnet and etc. other bits. And the guy that was restoring other classic Fiat 500s, he had this frame for sale. He built it purposely to work on the Fiat 500s. And yeah, it's brilliant. You know, the car's on it now. You can also roll it on its side, which we will be doing next week, so we can plan out how we're going to do all the welding and everything. Because I want to start with having the floor all welded and then work our way up, basically. Well, there you have it, guys. I wanted to do this video today just because every time I go to the shows or I'm talking to someone, it's like, oh, what's the story with the classic Fiat 500? And I feel like I'm repeating myself at least 10 times at every show. So now I can say, wow, you know, I'll give them a brief history, but check out the video and everything's in there, really. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this project. I hope you can follow the project with me. As I said, I'm quite limited to what I can do with the welding, bodywork and everything, but I am going to have a go at spraying it myself. I'll be doing like the rear lights, putting them all back together, putting all the parts back together, basically. I have planned a custom interior on this as well that's probably not been seen on a classic Jolly before, Fiat 500 Jolly replica. So yeah, there we have it. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you want to see more on this car, please do that, because there's loads of stuff coming over the next couple of months. I'm 100% committed to this car now, right up through the end of this year and next year. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.